So, are you tired of the same old advice about money? You know, the stuff that just doesn't seem to work for real people? Well, if you feel like you're being lied to, then you're going to want to stick around for this. We're about to break down a 5-stage process for building real wealth, and it kind of flips a lot of common ideas on their head.
Let's kick things off with this idea from Mark Tilbury. Society, the system, it basically wants you to be normal. Get a decent job, earn an average salary, and just fit in. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. But the point here is that wanting more, wanting real freedom, often means you have to challenge that normal path.
And that's really the question you have to ask yourself, isn't it? Are you truly happy with that path, or is there a part of you that knows you're meant for something bigger? Because according to this whole framework, that's where the journey to wealth really begins, with that one simple, honest answer.
You know, so many people think that getting rich is just an accident. It's about a lucky break, winning the lottery, or being in the right place at the right time. But that's not it at all. It actually starts with a single, powerful, conscious decision, the decision to stop letting life happen to you and start making it happen for you.
Okay, so what does this path actually look like? Well, here's the roadmap. We're looking at 5 distinct stages. It starts in a place that, honestly, most of us know all too well, and it leads all the way to total financial freedom. Let's dive into each one. All right, stage 1. This is the place where most people are stuck. It's called drifting. This is when you're just floating. You go from job to job, maybe you try a side hustle here and there, but there's no real plan. You're just hoping that one day, somehow, you'll hit the jackpot.
And this quote just hits so hard because it's the absolute truth. Think about it for a second. Who else is going to wake up every single morning thinking, how can I make you rich today? Nobody. At the end of the day, you have to be the one driving your own success.
So let's just pause here for a second. And you got to be really honest with yourself. Do the things you do every day actually line up with your biggest goals? If you say you want to be rich, but you aren't actively steering the ship in that direction, well, you might be drifting. And just realizing that, that's your first real step to breaking free. So, what's the cure for drifting? It's making that conscious decision we talked about earlier. It's becoming obsessed. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean developing a powerful, singular focus on your goal of building wealth. It's the fuel that's going to push you out of that comfortable drift.
And this is a really interesting distinction. The arrogant person thinks they can do it all at once. I'm going to get rich and run a marathon and learn Japanese all this year, right? But the obsessed person gets it. They know that building serious wealth is an extraordinary goal, and it demands extraordinary focus. So they put all their energy into that one thing.
Okay, so you've got that fire, that obsession. Now you need somewhere to point it. Stage 3 is all about discovery. It's about finding a proven, actionable way to make money. This isn't about trying to invent the next big thing or get lucky. It's about finding a vehicle that already works.
And at the core of any real wealth-building strategy is this super simple principle. You get paid based on the value you provide. That's it. So if you want to make more money, you have to become more valuable. You have to develop a skill or a service that people are actually willing to pay for.
Now listen up, because this is basically the cheat code. You don't have to figure it all out yourself. Find someone who's already crushing it, someone who is exactly where you want to be. Then study them. Figure out their exact blueprint, their systems. You learn from their mistakes. So you get to skip all that pain and just accelerate your own journey.
All right, so you've found your path. Now comes the hard part. This is stage 4, also known as the lonely chapter. This is where you put your head down and just work. You execute on that plan, day in and day out. And yeah, like the name says, it can get pretty isolating.
So, to get through this phase faster, you need feedback. Lots of it. But here's the trap so many people fall into. They ask their friends and family. And that's almost always useless. Why? Because they love you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. And honestly, they probably don't have the expertise anyway. What you need is cold, hard, constructive feedback from people who actually know what they're doing. This part of the journey is weird. You start to feel disconnected from your old friends because they just don't get your new drive. But you're also not quite successful enough to hang out with the mentors you look up to. You're in this strange middle ground, and this is where most people quit. So what's the solution? Find a tribe, a community of other people who are right there in the trenches with you. That support is everything. But if you push through that lonely chapter, you finally reach stage 5, freedom. This is it. The hard work pays off. You're making great money, you can work from anywhere, you can buy the things you want, life is on your terms. But then, a brand new, even more important choice appears.
And this brings us to probably the single most important lesson of this entire process. We're always thinking about investing in stocks or crypto or real estate, but the greatest, most valuable investment you will ever make is in yourself. Your skills, your knowledge, that's the one asset that compounds for your entire life.
See, at this final stage, you have to get this crucial difference. Being rich just means you have a high income, and an income can disappear tomorrow. But being wealthy, that means you own assets, things like your skills, your businesses, your investments, that make money for you, even when you're not actively working. That is sustainable freedom.
And this quote just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's so blunt, but it's true. The choice is yours. Are you going to use your money to buy stuff to impress people? Or are you going to use that money to buy more assets, to reinvest in yourself, your business, your future? Your spending habits will literally determine your destiny.
So as we wrap this up, it all comes back to this one idea. You are the asset. You're the thing that's going to generate returns for the rest of your life. So the biggest question you have to answer isn't, what stock should I buy? It's, how am I going to invest in myself to build true, lasting wealth?